Our Justice Thursday conversation starts now. And Wakili,
yes,
Ndegwa Njiru is in the hot seat with us this morning and already getting things off and cooking. Ama namna gani?
Tuko salama sana, tuko site, tuko one time.
Oh wow, okay.
Okay. He has not started with gunshots. He started with bombs.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki, one time. That's where we are.
One time.
All right. And that's where we are starting this morning. So, wacha tukusalimia vizuri basi. Dennis is going to share today's proverb.
Yes.
And then we'd love to hear how you interpret it.
Oh, great.
Do you love chocolates?
My son does.
Your son does.
Yes.
So there's a high possibility that the chocolate that your son do have on regular occasions might have come from Ivory Coast. So today we are in Ivory Coast, one of the largest producers of cocoa, right? And coffee as well. They also produce coffee. It is bordered by Liberia, Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, Ghana, and the Atlantic Ocean. But let's go to the proverb today coming from Ivory Coast. The toad does not run in the day for nothing. The toad does not run in the day for nothing. How would you interpret that?
Let me tell you that that's not just an Ivory Coast saying. Even us in Mount Kenya region, we still have it. Yes. If you see a toad running,
I know exactly
if you see a toad running in during the day, you must know there is danger somewhere. Yeah, because ordinarily you will not see toads just running like helter-skelter. There must be something that perhaps is pursuing it. Yes. And my interpretation is that when you see the Standard saying it is insensitive, when you come and see the nation speak about Bingwa Mutharika one term, when you see people crying about the inability of SHA to sustain the health system, when you see the dawns on the strikes on our streets today and children at home, you know, when you see the collapse of the economy and the institutions created therein, then there must be a serious problem.
The toad is running.
Now, this toad is the Kenyan people. Yes. My interpretation.
Okay.
And of course, you might also want to connect that with with what has happened to our friend Chakwera. That there is a wind of change that is blowing across Africa.
It's blowing north is what they're trying to say.
Yes, it's blowing north. Not this. Is this way coming up?
From the south?
Yes, upwards, yes. Because at a time you were at Botswana, now we are at Malawi. The next destination may be Kenya. I can see it happening in Tanzania or happening in Uganda, but it's likely to happen in Kenya.
Okay.
Well, it's a whole thing of let's wait and see, isn't it? There are many things that are happening at the moment.
Yes.
And we're looking into areas around constitutionalism on this Justice Thursday with you, Wakili.
Yeah.
And one issue that seems to be jumping out at us all of a sudden that people seem to be discussing it with quite some, even as we look at electoral justice and credibility and opposition politics, I want to start off with one question before we go into that. And that is that when we see constitutionally, the two young boys, I'm going to call them boys because we don't know their age, young men, all right, who were seen to have been defaming the Kenyan flag at the sports stadium over the weekend. Yeah. And, you know, behaving in a manner that was going to maybe, you know, show some there you go, disparage, disrespect, whatever the case may be. Constitutionally, is there a problem with the behavior? We've seen that the call for their arrest has been made by the CS. And he says, let the law take its course.
Permit me to first of all bring greetings from my party leader, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, and his partners Rigathi Gachagua, Martha Karua, Justin Muturi, and Eugene Wamalwa.
Okay, we have received greetings.
And they've told me when I get here, I tell you that upinzani uko chonjo na wako tayari.
Okay.
Now, I do not want to take that case as an isolated case.
Okay.
The all the boys did. I want to take it as a situation whereby people are losing confidence with the state. The state has failed to live up to the expectation to the legitimate expectation of Kenyans. While I do not think that whatever happened is right, while I do not think that the boys did what is correct, I am also a bit hesitant to condemn them.
Okay.
Because if you look at our constitution, it has created a right to self-expression, freedom of self-expression. What I do not know is that right itself is not limited. If you go to the Limitation of Actions Act, that has been enacted pursuant to Article 27, Article 24, it created a litany of rights and freedoms that can be limited at a particular time. But that is not one of the rights that is limited under that particular legislation. While the National Symbols Act has created an offense under it, we might then want to ask ourselves whether that amounts to self-expression. So, of course, expect a legal battle ahead in respect of that action, because the High Court might be challenged to tell the people of Kenya whether that amounts to expression. But besides that, it tells you how desperate people are. They are no longer respecting the state of the Republic of Kenya. And this is not out of their own doing. It's because the state itself has decayed. The institutions in the state have decayed. The symbols of the state themselves have decayed. Remember, the national flag is not the only symbol of unity, including the presidency. And Article 134. Article 134 creates the presidency as a symbol of national unity. So if the presidency itself has decayed, what do you expect of other national symbols? He has failed to breathe life and confidence and respect to those other national symbols. Because if the presidency itself is as insensitive as the standard says, and by the way, the standard, you're doing the Lord's work, continue injecting the way you're injecting, what do you expect of the people? If there is no guidance and there is no resemblance of unity at the top, how then do you expect the people to respect those?
Somebody might argue that's your own interpretation.
Yes,
everything is intact. The government is running. The president is doing his duties.
Yes, he is doing his duties, and you saw the kind of the problems that he's having and where he has taken the country. Look at the way he's even trying to convene mpango wa kando uko pande ya UNGA. Mpango wa kando meeting to try and convince people that he needs to be supported for this mission, for this botched Haiti mission. Look at when he was addressing the national, the UNGA assembly, his keynote address. I think there were only 3 or 4 people listening to his address. It tells you our sovereignty has been decayed as a result of Mr. William Ruto's inability to govern.
Surely, Wakil.
Inability to keep national cohesion and international cohesion.
The week around the General Assembly is a very busy one.
Yes.
There's a lot of filibustering that's going on.
Yes.
There are nations who are trying to get certain agenda being sorted out. People are talking to each other, one to the other.
Yes.
There are many sideline meetings that are happening with many international organizations. People are busy.
Yeah.
If somebody was not able to attend a meeting called for by the president of Kenya, does it mean that they're undermining sovereignty, or that they were busy?
They are not undermining our sovereignty, only that they cannot sit and listen perhaps to Mr. William Ruto address them. It is Mr. William Ruto who has lost the international clamor and the international clout. And when William Ruto loses the international clamor and the clout, the country of the Republic of Kenya suffers. He has not been able to push even a single agenda. Look, he leaves the country, goes to UNGA with an agenda of trying to see how the Haiti will be financed when you're already facing a drought. Instead of him going to push for agendas, an agenda that will be beneficial to the Republic of Kenya, he's pushing for an agenda to see how the Haiti mission is going to be supported. I have not heard him, and I have looked at his speech, I have not heard him addressing the pertinent issues that the Kenyans are suffering. One of the issues that would have been raised is the decay of the decay and the inability to respect human rights here in Kenya. our sovereignty. We are being discussed at the U.S. Congress because of our behavior, our misconduct. So those are the pertinent issues that have eroded the state and the Republic of Kenya. So to me, the country is headed on the wrong direction, and we must re-engineer ourselves. And that's why I began by saying that Sisi took a one term.
Somebody might argue, based on reports that we've been seeing, because you umetuma salamu, umeleta salamu from the opposition. What is this conversation about?
And I was very specific with the individuals that I mentioned. And I thought it should have pricked your conscience.
But we know those individuals.
Yes.
They're what you'd call.
And there are some that I have not mentioned deliberately.
Like who?
Like Fred Matiang'i. I have not mentioned him.
Why?
I've not brought his greetings. Because he's not a man that one can look into his eyes and say that I trust you. And it's a high time we begin this conversation, because we do not want to repeat the mistake of yesterday. You remember sometimes back I went to Kameme TV and I said that Matiang'i was a project.
Yes, you did.
And I now want to repeat the same situation and the same message. And you had His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka yesterday when a question was put to him by Kituku about how he views his partners. He said he's still learning him. He never associated with him when he was in the ministry, and he's now trying to take an opportunity to learn him. But they say when you see something like that walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, waits like a duck.
It's not a camel.
It must be a duck. Now, look at the events and the unfolding events that led to the alleged unveiling of Fred Matiang'i as a candidate. First of all, he ran away from the country when there was an attempt to arrest him on corruption charges about the Ruaraka land. You remember?
Well, wait, hang on a minute.
Let me take you through the memory lane. Let me take you down the memory lane. He ran away when there was an intervention by the Kisses leaders. That is when he went to the New York, and he's now working with the World Bank. Then all of a sudden, hype is created in the media, and then all of a sudden a man emerges, I won't be the president. Remember, when he came back to Kenya, his case had not been terminated or even filed in court. But even when he was not even seeking for presidents, at that particular time, the government was pursuing him. Today, the government is cozy. They're not pursuing him whatsoever. It seemed to have forgotten that there was a Ruaraka land issue, and there was the River issue. Nobody is pursuing him. Then when he comes, he starts associating with individuals who are not speaking the language the Kenyans are speaking.
Who are these individuals?
Kenyans are speaking the language of one term. And then he comes and then he said that, this is going to be the Jubilee presidential candidate. He's fronted by people like Kioni, who once associated with the one-term movement and later left. Then he goes to Kisii. He finds Simba Arati, the governor. He's welcomed, and his meeting is well financed and well greased by the power that be. And all of a sudden we think, here is a big man with big clout and big supporters in Kisii, without knowing the underworks that were taking place for him to be in a position to hold that meeting.
But Ndegwa.
Yes, let me just finish one thing. Then his associates then say, we do not want one term in Kisii. We make arrangements with him, the opposition. When we took the tour to Mombasa, the next tour was supposed to be Narok, Kisii, Nyamira, Western, Kisumu, Western, that circuit. He was in the US that time. He said, musifanye hiyo safari kama sijakuja. So we waited for him, only for him to come and cancel that trip. To date, you see him venturing in the mountain, but he has never ventured in his own, he does not want us to venture in his own town. Now on Monday, you can see what he has done. So we do not consider him as an honest partner. That must be said. Then look at what he does when he goes to Kajiado on Sunday. He addresses a man who has been at the helm of this country in a very disparaging and disrespectful way. He says, mimi ni mfanyikazi, nyinyi ni watu wa mastori. You remember that thing? Mm-hmm. What he did? And then you wonder, you are a political novice, a political greenhorn, and then you want to lecture those people who have been here and playing the game? He cannot be trusted.
Ndegwa, there is also a feeling out there that Fred Matiang'i has been called upon by Kenyans to run for the office of presidency.
Yes.
And that the opposition where you belong,
yes,
the group of individuals who've coalesced themselves together to form now the alternative opposition, is that grouping of the big boys who've been in the game for a very long time and have not done anything for the country.
Yes.
And even now that Matiang'i is you're saying you do not associate with Matiang'i, many are saying is because your crew is afraid of alternative.
We are not afraid of him.
How would you respond to that?
You see, how would we be afraid of Matiang'i when he does not even have the numbers? What speaks in politics is the numbers. It's not the ministerial preposition or position that you held previously, is the numbers. And mark you, he has distanced himself clearly from ever mentioning that he was at the helm of the Ministry of Interior. That one he has completely steered away. He only associates himself with the Ministry of Education. At times we don't remind him, okay, even in the Ministry of Education, there was Ruaraka land. We don't mention and we don't remind him. But the reason why he has steered away from the Ministry of Interior is because now he doesn't want to have the demons of the Rivayala being reawakened. But we are not afraid of facing our opponents. We are going to form a formidable opposition that one has numbers. Number two, if he is with us, and we are not saying this because we are clamoring for any invitation. Jubilee has not invited any of its purported partners for the NDC for tomorrow. And obviously because we know the games that they are playing. We expect that tomorrow they may unveil him as their presidential candidate.
But what's wrong with that?
There is nothing wrong, absolutely. There is nothing wrong.
Did he give any kind of indication that he was with you before that?
He like I said, he's not be trusted. He has been attending meetings strategically.
To find out what the juice is on your side,
and perhaps to portray that he's together with the Kenyans.
Okay,
that's how he has been conducting himself. But because what will count at the end of the day are the numbers of the votes, as we are working to consolidate those votes. But we're also looking at the character of the person whom we are saying ought to be at the helm of this country. Because never again should we ever make the mistake that we have done. That we get a person who has skeletons in his crotchet to the helm. Because if you get garbage in, you'll get garbage out. So if you have unanswered questions and resolved issues, we are looking at you in a very suspicious way.
So Ndegwa, Matiang'i was in the US.
Yes.
Well, right after the announcement of
no, he ran
Ruto.
away. Use the right word. He ran away to the US after an attempt to arrest him and prosecute him.
When was this? Right after the announcement?
Yes, I think that was sometimes in 2023.
Okay. Let's say he was in the US.
Yes.
You're saying he
ran away to the US.
So let's say he came back from the US.
Yes, after being told, okay, wewe rudi ukuje ujaribu kuwanyisha hawa watu wa Mount Kenya region.
Really,
you told by who?
Yes.
Really, Ndegwa. Because I
the
remember
powers that be didn't tell you that it's a project. Who was hyping for him? I even think that the NIS must have been involved in hyping his candidature.
Okay, we'll get into that. So Matiang'i comes and he does a homecoming in Kisii.
Yes.
He goes to Kisii Stadium. And the Kisiis show up.
Yes.
And
no, his meeting is organized for him in Kisii.
Whichever way you look at it, Ndegwa.
Yes,
but
it's
Kisii
even
is
financed for him.
But Kisii is his home.
Yes.
So he goes to his home.
Yes.
Homecoming, like every other politician does when they go back to their own backyard.
Absolutely.
Then people see the numbers. And then the question, okay, he's a serious contender, he's running. He was asked this question, I remember. And he was asked, so which party are you going to run with? And he said, he's actually having conversations with many. There are those there are different parties that want to quote him. So he's weighing his options. And my question, Ndegwa, is if he decides to go at this alone,
yes,
what will be the problem with it? Why?
There's nothing wrong. We even had Nyachai in 202. There's absolutely nothing wrong with
Then why
him.
do you call him a project?
The numbers will count. How do I associate him with government? I associate him because, one, you remember a while ago, whenever we would make an attempt to go and meet the people, would be met with a lot of violence from the state. For him, he has been joyriding and smoothly flowing. Number two, the party that is now purporting to sponsor him, Jubilee Party, when William Ruto came into power, had a lot of problems with Jubilee. They even created, staged a coup, a takeover coup. When William Ruto visited Uhuru Kenyatta at Gatondo, all of a sudden those problems subsided. Jubilee was declared now, it was given back to Uhuru Kenyatta, who is now calling for an NDC tomorrow. So this kind of behavior.
But what behavior? Imagine.
In politics, things don't just happen. They're meant to happen. We read even that which is not.
Rigathi Gachagua goes to his own backyard.
Yes.
He comes up with his own party.
Yes.
DCP.
Yes.
Starts recruiting people to join DCP.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now, in this case, Matiang'i decides, okay, I'm going to use a party called Jubilee.
Yes.
Kalonzo is using Wiper. Yes. Everybody's coming in.
Yes.
Mature is using his party. Everybody's using their own party.
Yes.
Then what's the problem with him running with a different party? Then coalesce at some point.
You see,
because you said everybody has to come with numbers.
The agreement was, the initial agreement was, kila mtu arudi kwake, a consolidate kwake, alafu arudi. Right? Go back to your backyard, consolidate your backyard, and it is important for us to know why it was important to consolidate the backyards. To achieve two constitutional principles. The first constitutional principle is the 50+1 of the votes. Number two, the constitutional principle of the threshold of the counties. 25% in 24 counties. That's why it was important and it is important for Rigathi Gachagua to go and lock the mountain. It's equally important for Kalonzo Musyoka to lock the lower eastern, and any other partner to lock his base. Not for tribal inclination, no. But because you need, the threshold is that of the county and the 50+1. So the guy has never ever even gone back to Kisii. His friends and associates, led by Simba Arati, has already said that Kisii is a two-term. So we are not reading from the same page clearly.
Okay, so allow me to ask, because we also know that in the game of politics, no matter where it is that you look at it,
yes,
that in a political race, it's not just the individual or the groups fighting for themselves. They're also fighting to destabilize the other side.
Yes.
Now, if we're looking at this conversation from the issue of an opposition that might be able to come in, are you saying that this gentleman, Matiang'i, then would be used to divide the opposition?
Absolutely. Why? Because as we have declared war in the mountain, with the people and the MPs who are not delivering the functions for which they were elected. We are not looking at MPs delivering developments in the grassroots. We are looking at the MPs delivering quality legislation, because that is their function. So we have taken a vow in the mountain. Any MP, member of parliament, who is not delivering the reason for his election, that is legislation, we are sending you home. So if they create Jubilee, they are creating an alternative route where the individuals who people do not want will have a place to perch on. So he's being used to divide the mountain, because William Ruto does not want the mountain to go together as a block. So they must try to think that they are going to use a party that purportedly was once domesticated in the mountain, thinking that people will now warm up towards that party. But they have forgotten one thing, that Jubilee is a forgotten case. ilimaliza kazi yake. It tried to convince us in 2022 to vote for Raila Odinga, and nobody responded.
Ndegwa, one would ask the question, the war that you've declared on MPs is war that you've declared on MPs who do not support one Rigathi Gachagua.
Not at all.
And that, even as we talk about the support that Jubilee is not there, must the mountain move as a block?
Yes.
Don't the people of the mountain have options to choose whoever they want?
Yeah, they have
and
the options.
Associate with any party that they
First
want.
of all,
must it be DCP?
So let me clear this misconception. The issue in the mountain is not about Rigathi Gachagua. The issue is larger than an individual. The issue is that you are not doing what people elected you to do.
Okay.
That is the issue.
All right.
And it is an issue that must not be individualized.
Okay.
We must not look at it from the perspective of where Gachagua is today and where he will be tomorrow.
If that's the case,
It's a perpetual issue that will transcend and succeed Rigathi Gachagua. But just to answer your question, we have a right, but we're also guiding them that we must be careful not to make the mistake we did in 2022. It's a very expensive mistake. That mistake has cost the life of our children, the life of our youths. That mistake has cost our economy. That mistake has cost the degrading of our institution. It has cost our sovereignty. It's a very expensive mistake that must not be allowed to be repeated. But as I finish, and because the mountain has a bulk of the votes, the votes that can tilt the balance in favor of William Ruto, we must be very careful that we nurture these votes carefully to make sure that the votes are wisely used to liberate this country.
But Ndegwa, you talk about the mistakes that happened in 2022, yet that seems to be the same thing that you want to repeat, because you want the mountain to move as a block the same way it did in 2022.
But you see difference? Now, we are telling the mountain, we are not just going to vote with our emotions, we are going to vote with our head. And that's what we are saying. When it comes to 2027, the last 1 week to the elections, tutahakikisha baa zote zimefungwa ili watu wakienda kwenye uchaguzi waende wakiwa na akili timamu.
Okay. So often also again looking at the process of politics towards an election or at whatever level it may be. So is this coming together, this opposition, is it coming together to send President William Ruto home, or is it coming together to have alternate leadership?
Absolutely.
Because the two are not, they're not the same.
Yeah, I was waiting for that question, and thank you so much for putting it to me. We are uniting together to send William Ruto home. That's the first agenda. One term. Why? Because you cannot speak about abduction if William Ruto is still the president. Because he is the author, he is the perpetrator, he is the owner of abductions. You cannot speak about corruption because it is William Ruto who has brought the systems that are actually stealing from Kenyans. For example, the e-citizen. He's the one who stood and said every government department must transact through the e-citizen. As a consequence of which, Kenyans have now lost over 44.7 billion. It is Mr. William Ruto who found a functional NHIF and decided to do an overhaul of it and introduce SHA. Today, what is happening? People are dying, misery everywhere. It is William Ruto who found a functional help system, financing, university financing model that were workable. Today, they are not workable. It is William Ruto who is now selling our most strategic national assets. For example, the Kenya Pipeline Corporation. It is him who wanted to sell JKIA. It is William Ruto who has clogged the development of Konza City. It is him who has clogged the development of the High Gradfords Dam and the Thwake Dam. It is him who is allowing the importation of rice in Kenya when Mwea rice paddy farmers are now planting and harvesting. So our problem begins and stops at the doorstep of William Ruto. Therefore, to be able to bring reforms and restore the country to the path of development where Kibaki left it, where Kalonzo left it with Kibaki, where Martha Karua left it, and all other partners. William Ruto must go home.
So, in order to have that agenda fulfilled,
yes,
many are saying that if you don't have a united opposition,
yes,
then you're not going to then be able to achieve this thing. And we're already starting to see. We're already starting to see the cracks. Sorry, Wakili.
Yes.
That if Matiang'i, for example, was part of this larger group and we're seeing that seem to slow off.
Yes, yes.
If he is a project, according to what you are saying,
yes,
then the projection would be that, okay, well, let's do a little bit of something for you so that you divide the vote.
The success.
And then you don't have to.
The success of.
We're already starting to see. Gachagua was already starting to say, okay, guys, well, if I'm not the one, then, am I going to remove my support?
No, let me tell you, we clear this misconception. The opposition, the success of the opposition is not pegged on an individual.
Do they know that?
It is
Do
pegged,
individuals know that?
Yeah. It's pegged on the unity of Kenyans. The majority of Kenyans are the ones who are now suffering as a result of the issues that I have indicated. So even if one individual goes, he does not go with the Kenyans. Kenyans are still there, waiting for reforms, waiting for change, waiting for liberation. So if one individual decides to bolt out, Kenyans are still solidly behind the clamor for change.
But Wakili, you see Kenyans also saying for the award, in the sense that each and every person, especially who's been involved with the current president, William Ruto, should go, because then again, we'll just be recycling leaders. And key person in leading that is DCP leader, Rigathi Gachagua. And Kenyans are saying, we want new leaders. We do not want to recycle, and we want to chart our way forward.
Let me tell you, it's one thing to say, and one thing to have a strategy of delivering that aspiration. We must understand that whether you like it or not, the voting in Kenya will be influenced greatly by regionalism. Regionalism will have a great role to play in the Kenyan politics. And that is why William Ruto regionalized the mountain in his favor in 2022. So we shall first of all consolidate the votes from where we come from. And the votes and all those individuals at the helm, be it Rigathi Gachagua, be it Martha Karua, be it Justin Muturi, be it Eugene Wamalwa, be it Kalonzo Musyoka, those are just trustees of those votes. Because the whole community cannot negotiate.
All right.
The entire Mount Kenya cannot negotiate, and so it is even Western, and so it is even for Mombasa. So those are just trustees of those votes.
There's a question that's swirling around, and of course, it's a Justice Thursday conversation, so it's necessary then to be able to ask this. Most recently, about a week ago now, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua talked about what he would do if he were president.
Yes,
giving people the idea that there is a possibility that he would want his name to be on that ticket.
Yes.
Legally, pursuant to the impeachment.
Yes.
Can he actually run for president?
Can I make it clear that our constitutional dispensation has the whole concept of presumption of innocence until proven guilty? That is one thing. Number two, it has created an appeal mechanism. And Article 48 creates a right to access to justice for any person who is aggrieved as a result of an administrative action or as a result of a decision by a particular tribunal. So we are told, if any person is discontented by the function or the outcome of an administrative action, the High Court has the jurisdiction to adjudicate whether or not anything said to be done has been done in accordance with the Constitution. That is Article 165, Clause 2, Clause 3 that says so. So the actions of the Parliament, that's National Assembly, and the Senate are actionable before the High Court. And until the High Court makes a determination, that determination lies in appeal in the Court of Appeal all the way to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
You are eligible to vie for any position,
even if you've been convicted.
You see, that conviction has been challenged before a higher organ that is mandated to adjudicate over those matters. Therefore, it is to say in affirmative that Rigathi Gachagua is still credible and competent to contest for any position in this country. Don't you remember the case of Waluke? Waluke had been convicted.
Sentenced even.
Actually sentenced. Yeah. Convicted and sentenced to, I think, how many years?
It was 77. Or
yes.
Something like
he appealed. He was sentenced by the magistrate court. He appealed the High Court. The High Court upheld the decision of the magistrate. He appealed the Court of Appeal. At that particular time, when his appeal was pending, is the time he was elected as a member of parliament.
And there's a process that allowed that to happen.
Yes.
But even while that happened, what did the Chief Justice say? I believe she sat in that same position.
Yes.
Chief Justice Martha Koome said, it doesn't matter that the ruling holds. Whether you appeal or not, a sentence has been given. You've been declared guilty. You've been sentenced.
But William, Martha Koome is not the judiciary. She's the leader of the judiciary. She will have to wait until that appeal is brought to the Supreme Court so that she can pronounce herself in a manner she so wishes to pronounce herself. But as at now, the statement that she gave was given just like the way Ndegwa is giving his opinion here. It has no any jurisprudential value whatsoever.
Rigathi Gachagua can actually get on the ballot.
He will be, if the opposition decides that it is him who is going to hold the flag, he will be in the ballot. He will be in the ballot because it is our constitution that has created those mechanisms and those avenues. Yes.
So in this case, Gachagua said that it's the numbers that will speak.
Not Gachagua. It is a reality of democracy.
Well, I'm quoting Gachagua.
It's the reality of democracy.
It's the reality of democracy.
Yes.
But Gachagua said this the other day.
Of course, in pursuant of that reality.
Yes.
Yes.
He said that you're just being a lawyer.
Pursuant to that reality.
Ndegwa is listening to every question with a legal attack.
Yeah.
I mean, Gachagua was saying, look, the discussions around the table with all the principles, quote unquote, is go back, let the numbers speak. Of course, if you look at the rest and you compare their numbers to the numbers, if he manages then to galvanize the whole of Mount Kenya, you can't compare those numbers.
Yes.
If you're even to account for Matiang'i coming from Kisii, you're talking about something over 1 million.
No, they have wajafika hapo.
No, tumefika hapo.
Mjafika
Tumefika
chini kidogo lakini mtafika tu.
So, if you're looking at all these numbers, do you honestly believe that because people are still talking about, so who is it going to be? Is it going to be Rigathi on the ballot? Who's going to be the deputy? Is it Kalonzo? Or is it Kalonzo going to be, because Kalonzo has said because of all these rumors and bloggers, and he has addressed that he's not going to be running. He has insisted that he is indeed going to run for president.
Let me tell you, tomorrow PLP, the party of Martha Karua, will be having an NDC, and we shall be attending that NDC. The PLP may decide to unveil Her Excellency Martha Karua as their presidential candidate. DAPK, Eugene Wamalwa, may decide to unveil him as a presidential candidate. Equally for DCP and for Wiper. All these persons who have been fronted by their political party, I have heard them say that we understand the obligation ahead of us, we understand the state of the nation, we understand the consequences of our inability to unite. They have said that for them, what they are looking at is not their individual selfish possessions. It's where the country will be if they do not unite. So we are expecting that. And they have said clearly, I have heard Martha Karua say this, I have heard Kalonzo say this, I have heard Rigathi say this, I have heard Eugene say this, I have heard Justin Muturi say this. They are all saying the country is greater than an individual. We will unite for the sake of this country, and we shall give one presidential candidate. If that happens, then we are home and dry, we are one term.
Is this not another shareholding concept? Because in 2022, Ndegwa, just a minute, 2022, we had President William Ruto. We had Rigathi Gachagua. We had Moses Wetangula. We had Musalia Mudavadi. Who else was there? Muturi was actually there. Justin Muturi was there. a number of these people were there. Now, because there's been a fallout, and back then, Gachagua is on record that there was a shareholding ideology around them coming together to form government,
and that
because
is
they wanted to kick Uhuru out.
And that is true.
Yes. Okay, so now...
Actually, and we presented this in the Senate, that even the shareholding agreement, where people are benefiting with 30%, is actually from the mountain who never got any share of the shareholding. If you look at what was given to Weta and Musalia Mudavadi, it was 30% of the government. Us, we never got anything, because we are not driven by selfish interest. We are driven by the desire to liberate this country. That is why Kimathi was butchered by the British.
But how can you say that in the same sentence? That you wanted your 30% shareholding,
but you didn't get it.
It was never given to us.
You didn't get.
No.
You're fighting for the people.
When I have heard Rigathi Gachagua say that when he went on a round table with William Ruto to negotiate, what drove him then is what is driving him now. The ability to have this country governed correctly. That is why for him, he was not driven by how much am I getting or my people getting. That's why we never produced any shareholding agreements at the Senate. While we were able to present one for PA, led by Kingi, we were able to present a shareholding for Ford Kenya and even ANC. You never saw any agreement between Rigathi Gachagua and William Ruto, because that is not what drives us. That's not what ticks us.
Is this not another shareholding? My question was another shareholding concept, because you're talking about Martha Karua as a key principal.
The unfortunate thing is, the people with the votes must come together. That is the constitutional architecture of our democracy.
So we can't run away from this shareholding thing.
We cannot run away, because you must mobilize 50 plus 1 of the total of the votes, and you must mobilize 24 counties or 25 counties out of the possible 47 counties. All these counties are domiciled with either a Kisi, a Kikuyu, a Luo, a Mijikenda, a Taita, or a Somali.
Made up of the country's tribes, in other words.
Yeah, these countries are domiciled. These counties are domiciled with different segmented tribes. So, if you want to negotiate with the people from Uasin Gishu, what I'll do, I'll go and try to see the Wazes there. I'll tell them, I need you to help me. If they ask me, Ndegwa, what are we getting in return? I'll tell them what we are getting in return. We are going to restore the rule of law that works for everybody and not a region. So we are going to restore constitutionalism that works for everybody.
So are you saying that that's the question? That when people are being met with an option in terms of leadership, the first question that they ask you is that what are we getting in return?
Yes, that has been the tradition.
Kenyans are asking, what am I getting if I vote for you?
That has been the tradition. But you can now say we are changing that trajectory, because we are telling those people who are asking us, what shall we get? We are telling them, you shall get a government that is functional. You shall get a government that is properly good governance. You shall get in return accountability. We shall get in return transparency, the manner in which we conduct our businesses. The rule of law shall reign. The respect for properties and human rights shall be upheld. We are telling them we shall enhance accountability. We are telling them we shall enhance inclusivity in our government. That is the promise we are giving to Kenyans in return for their votes.
Ndegwa, how can one trust that promise if at all the individuals who have been there are the ones who have seen the country go to the dogs? How can Kenyans start and say, I believe so-and-so will bring constitutionalism if they were there when constitutionalism was being disrespected?
You must understand one thing. That the fact that Kalonzo Musyoka is there, the group that is now behind him, some of them were there before, and they're also new entrants. And so it's even for people like Martha Karua, people for Rigathi Gachagua. For example, today, if you've looked at the Standard about how people are responding to this issue of Matiang'i, there's a very young girl called Njeri. She's a youth leader. Nobody knows Njeri. But today, she's writing in the papers. A very young girl. You know, that tells you, in Kikuyu, you see, at page 8, you'll see, in Kikuyu we say, and I'll interpret, Wadhi wa kura wenda gonge. that is to say, like the way you unaongezea mtu maarifa. Kwa hivyo wale watu ambao wako katika upinzani siku ya leo wanazidi kuongezea wale ambao walikuwa pale maarifa. And that is why now the conversation is not about what shall this community get. The conversation is that the entire country will get the provisions of Article 10 implemented. Inclusivity, equity, equality, accountability, transparency, good governance, the participation of the people, the sustainable development, human rights, the rule of law, democracy. Those are the governing principles under Article 10. So voting for opposition, you are voting for the implementation of Article 10. It shall not be the shareholding anymore. It shall be, our shareholding shall come from Article 10 of the Constitution. Respect of our institutions. We are telling them, if you vote for opposition, Article 43 shall be implemented in a manner that is not oppressive. For example, you had yesterday's Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka say that one of the oppressive mechanisms the government has used of the day is that they have created an unsustainable taxation regime. They have maintained them and sustained them. What we are saying in opposition is, we shall sustain a predictable taxation regime. We shall not have a fluctuating taxation regime that today every finance bill is introducing different concepts of taxations. So that then any person who wants to invest in Kenya, we look at our taxation regimes, be it income tax, be it domestic tax, be it, all those taxations. He will know for the next 5 years or 6 years, these taxation regimes are not bound to change. So you are therefore able to plan your financial plans in respect of the a stable financing regime. So you'll not see people on the streets going to say, oh, sorry, tomorrow we are having a housing levy, another day we are having these levies. Our taxation regime shall be predictable for a given period of time so that you can create stability in the taxation and in the business world. We are saying, if you vote for the opposition, the respect for the Bill of Rights shall be upheld. One of the biggest challenges we are now currently having is that our titles are no longer respected. Today you'll go at the land registry and you find that your title has been converted, has been changed, has been transferred.
If it existed in the first place.
And somebody has taken out a loan. So we are saying you cannot create a democracy or excite investment if the investor is not sure whether the titles shall be respected. Recently, like Okari, just one very important thing.
Yes.
A client from Bangladesh, we were consulting for him in our office. And we gave him very good advice. And that he put a question about the question of taxation. I told him, because I have a duty to tell him the truth, is that one, I cannot guarantee that this taxation is about to remain the way it is. It may fluctuate either in favor of the business world or in favor of government. He also, then he asked me, by the way, do people respect property rights in Kenya? I told him, today, the current regime that we have does not respect property rights. You may lose your property courtesy of fraud. Do you know what? He said then, if you cannot respect the Bill of Rights in respect to ownership of property, how then shall we come to invest? Because investments must be done on land.
Ndegwa, I must ask you this.
Yes.
Because you've said some very, very nice, wonderful things.
Yes.
I've covered, I think, 3 elections. And every time you will hear, before an election happens, you will hear all these promises. It's all good talk. And a lot of times it's been very disappointing.
Yes. We all disappointed.
And I want to point you to something. So these principles, regarding Gachagua, for example, because all this change that you're talking about is going to be brought about by these same people.
By individuals, yes.
So regarding Gachagua was first elected Madeira MP 2017.
Yes.
Kalonzo Musyoka was first elected as MP 1985.
Yeah.
Eugene Wamalwa 2007. Justin Muturi 1999.
Yes.
Martha Karua 1992.
Yes.
So we are looking here. Gachagua has been in this business 8 years.
Yes.
Kalonzo 40 years.
Yes.
Wamalwa 18 years.
Yes.
Justin Muturi 26 years.
Yes.
Karua 33 years.
Yes.
if all these years, these people have been in government, have been in parliament, and none of these changes that you're talking about today were ever effected, how are we going to entrust these same people for the next 5 years, 10 years? After 40 years, Kalonzo is going to bring change.
I do disagree with your analysis, because it is the 12th parliament that brought forth the Constitution of Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua was not there, but Justin was. Eugene was, Martha Karua was, and Kalonzo Musyoka was. Let me tell you, if there is anything that ever happened in this country, if it was to be implemented, that would change the manner in which we govern ourselves for the Constitution. They brought this Constitution to themselves, knowing that at a particular point they would wish to be president and it would limit them. But they agreed to that pledge. They agreed to that covenant. So to me, a person who brought and participated in bringing for the new constitution understand the state and the nation that we used to have. Because if we were only to implement Article 10 peke yake, we would not be where we are. For example, we would not be speaking about a corrupt system of the e-citizens, because there would be transparency and accountability. Any person who is accused of having violated that law today would be speaking about him being charged. If we had transparency, we would not be speaking about the importation of fake fertilizer. If we had the respect of the human rights, today we would not be saying that Masai is dead because he exercised his right under Article 37 to demonstrate. So the biggest problem that we have is the failure to implement the Constitution. And that's why I have this very clear conviction that if we implement this Constitution, this country will change forever and ever. And any person who says that you want to make Kenya a Singapore, and he does not quote Article 10 and does not rely on the Constitution, that person is a liar. So the 2027 election, one of the things that we are going to look at is your ability to implement this Constitution. And if you are corrupt, you cannot implement it, because the Constitution will catch up with you. If you committed atrocities and you killed people or you stole land, that Constitution, you are not the best person to implement this Constitution, because the Constitution will catch up with you, and therefore you cannot cut the hand that feeds you. That is why the character of the individual that we are going to elect matters a lot. We must analyze the character of that particular individual,
and not just to vote,
just to vote.
All right,
let's vote that person who is telling us, I will implement the Constitution from Article 1 to Article 260 of the Constitution.
All right. Wakili Ndegwa Njiru has been our guest this hour, and this is what we're looking for.
Time Measure.
Imagine.
How now?
Just like that. Like they say, time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, we're just getting started.
And that's why we have to do it again. So you have these conversations front and center to keep the discourse flowing and to keep it current.
Yes.
Thank you for being part of this conversation this morning.
Thank you so much.
And we'll continue looking into how this plays out, because there's some time coming. It's going to play out.
Yes. So I've already given the Kenyans our manifesto.
Okay.
Our manifesto is the Constitution.
Implement the Constitution.
That is our manifesto.
So according to what Wakili is saying, anybody who is not speaking about the implementation of the Constitution to the letter, you have no business engaging with them.
Yes.
That's the parting shot.
And any person who has a tainted past cannot be the person to implement the Constitution. Because he cannot implement the Constitution, because he'll catch up with him. He'll be an impediment to the implementation of the Constitution.
Of the Constitution. Yes. Thank you very much. At 3 minutes past 8. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.